me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession, I will not stop. No, never second guess.
USAGSA. Then we'll talk about some rather brutal murders in Amory, Mississippi, in Monroe County. Mississippi, for those that are not familiar with that territory. And this story, folks, has all the characteristics of something ain't right. And we're going to talk about what is missing from this story, from this narrative, and not just story, but stories, as it pertains to our two-tiered system. What applies to us, what applies to them, and if we break it down further, and how it affects different races, especially here in the Dirty South. And all the things are here, folks. All things are present. When we talk about targeting, a militarized snitch culture, and criminals with badges. All of these elements are on the table with what we're going to discuss right now. But before I jump into it, in the description of this video is our link tree. In that link tree, it'll take you to some of the other platforms that we're on. But mainly, it will take you to the various ways you can support USAGSA. We're 100% supported by our listeners, viewers, and followers. This is not a business that is set up for profiting. One iota, you can believe that. And without your support, we can't continue doing what we're doing. And I thank God for the supporters that we've had on board here for a little over 4 years. It made sure that when the enemy has done everything within the enemy's power to shut down everything that we're doing as we advocate for victims coast to coast, they have failed. It's because we've got some prayer warriors, dedicated people that have taken their part in making sure that they have a voice, and that the voiceless have a voice, etc. Also in that link tree, of course, is the Chime and Cash App, the Dollar Box, and GoFundMe. Also in there, we have our link to our Patreon. And if we encourage you, if you want to stand with USAGSA, how can you do your part at making sure that we continue to expose corruption? If not only we expose these programs, folks, we're explaining the tactics, and what they're doing, of course, who they're doing it to, and who's doing it. And there's no filter, and no punches will be pulled here. Not holding anybody. Or am I trying to win a popularity contest? And I'm not running for office. So you're going to get it straight from the hip. I shoot straight from the hip. I always have it. We'll continue to do so. In that link tree is a link to my Substack, where I've written extensively about the things that I've just talked about. Now, if you hadn't been to my Substack and read the articles, and there's quite a bit there. And these articles are from years of experience, and a lot of research and put into this thing, put into these articles before I publish one. It's not just something that's done on a whim. We're going to talk about this a murder that took place in Amory, Mississippi. That's at the Tom Bigby, or 10 Tom Inn. It's an old motel downtown Amory, a cheap motel. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And so on, I believe, October the 22nd, 2023, at about 3 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, a murder took place. And this is when Hunter Dahlem was murdered, 32-year-old young man from Hamilton, Mississippi. And he was murdered by Isaac Gray, and his accomplice was Cheyenne McLinnis. Now, so what happened? Well, I wasn't there, and we know those three were there: the victim and the two people that are have been charged with first-degree murder. Here's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. You got a 19-year-old Isaac Gray that murders Hunter Gray, 32 years old, in a motel room. So what happened? What's going on here? Now, I know that there's been little or no news coverage of this deal. There was a little bit of coverage when this happened. It hadn't heard anything since. 2 years. Why is that? Well, I'm going to tell you what's at play here. Now, people will jump to the conclusions of this deal. We're not going to do that, nor are we going to put the deceased, the victim, Hunter Dahlem, on trial. We're not going to talk about his past convictions, what he did, or what people think he did, or what people opinion of him. Dahlem is not on trial. He is the victim, and so that's inconsequential of what he may or may not have been, or anything else. Our system of due process, our judicial process, all but guarantees what I just said, that you're innocent until proven guilty. Now, so we're not going to put Hunter on trial. He wasn't guilty of anything. He had been proven guilty of anything. Had he been guilty of something, then that's another story. But too many times, people have the mentality that they want to justify a premeditated murder of another American citizen, circumventing our judicial process. Now, folks, if that's okay, then we've got a problem, Dorothy. When is that okay? I've seen this too many times, especially in Monroe County. We covered story after story after story where somebody has been found dead, or from apparent suicide and all that, and whatever the talking point is, it goes like this: somebody ends up murdered, and so what has the protocol been? Well, they were on dope, or been on dope, or been around somebody that could spell dope, and okay, and so how's your mama now? Oh, well, good. Wrap it up, boys. Let's go. And that's the end of the deal. Then you got the fake news that are Johnny on the spot, and that will parrot exactly what Alan Gurley, the coroner, the sheriff, our chief of police, in this case, whatever they say. And that story, come hell or high water, will not change from what they say it is. No matter what, if the world turns upside down and it's totally opposite of what they said, we come to find out this wasn't the deal, you'll never get the straight of that. And they will do everything within their power to prevent that from happening. Why is that, folks? Why is it that we've got issues with these phony baloney news broadcasts You can't talk about fake news. If you mention just people that sit there and read the BS that they're told to read, there's not an investigative journalistic thread and none of them. I have everything I do, I have to do. I've got to, and I'm not about to go off of what the official statement is from somebody that obviously will lie at the drop of the hat. And there's been a proven, documented liar. Why am I supposed to be listening to that? When I know that when their lips are moving, that the chances are very good they're telling a damn lie. So, it's WCBI in Columbus, Mississippi, and WTVA in Tupelo, Mississippi, and of course the birdcage liners of the Commercial Dispatch and the Tupelo Daily Journal will all parrot that lie, whatever that story is. And so you've got Isaac Gray and his girlfriend, Cheyenne McLinnis, at the 10 Tom Inn in Amory, Mississippi. And Isaac has got Cheyenne's telephone, and he is exchanging lewd messages and photographs we can assume between himself and Hunter. And he's pretending to be her. Now, I've heard some reports, stories that Isaac had the girlfriend, Cheyenne, locked in the bathroom. Anybody see a problem with that scenario? I mean, y'all see a problem. I don't care what kind of relationship they had. It wasn't a relationship. And we'll talk about it in a second. But the part about she was locked in the bathroom. Now, I don't know how many people watching this have ever been into a motel room. And I don't care if it's a seedy motel or the Ritz-Carlton. I've never been in a motel, a hotel room, anywhere in this world that had a bathroom door that would lock on the outside. Where in the hell they do that at? So, I have no question that she was locked in the bathroom. But he didn't lock it. She locked it. Why would she go in the bathroom and lock the door? Well, I imagine that was the safest place that she could imagine going, knowing that she and Isaac premeditated a murder of another human being. Okay? Now, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. So we assume that they're all three, the victim and the two murderers were having insomnia and just couldn't sleep good, or was there dope on the deal? And we know the answer to that, folks. All of them were high, I'm sure, as a Georgia pine. Now, still, no matter how high you are or how low, there's not a legal precedence on how you can greenlight premeditated murder. Okay, that's no excuse. No more than if you're dog ass drunk and you hit somebody and you kill a family of 40, you're gonna get tried for murder. Okay, but you can't blame it on Jack Daniels. You can't blame it on the whiskey. All right, you blame it on the person that took in there. Okay, now. So we're not going to make Hunter Dahlem the boogeyman here. He is the victim of a premeditated murder, an unnecessary murder. This was not. Didn't break into the hotel room through not only knows how many hours of back and forth of lewd and sexual. Dahlem thinking he's talking to the girl. I mean, and Isaac's using the girl's phone. Folks, let me tell you, that is, I said, well, he was 19 years old, and let me tell you, folks, the mind of a 19-year-old in 2025 is not the same thing as the mind of a 19-year-old in 1985, okay? I know the difference. And we all know the difference. But it's a whole new breed here. It's a breed that went to school where teachers had no authority. They couldn't wear them out with a paddle, and the kids could say "fuck you," "kiss my ass," or anything else. And the teacher said anything, she may get fired or put in jail. That's the culture we're in. When they took prayer out of school and absolutely it started having 5 or 6 different sexual orientations. I think everybody gets the picture. So don't think that we got some just young, immature 19-year-old. Believe me, they have been programmed a whole lot different than folks that are a little bit older. Now, I promise you, my programming was a lot different. I can't blame any of my mistakes on my upbringing. You know, my mom, I hate people, all they want to talk about it. I'm like this because my mom and my daddy, they wasn't worth, they did this and they did that. But you don't hardly ever see anybody say, you know what, I had a good mom, I had a good daddy, and, you know, the truth of the matter is I was just a shithead. And, but that blame it on the parents and blame it on this or blame it on that. I'm not going to let them skate on any of this stuff. So Dahlem was fell for the deal and lured into the. And I'm just wondering where Isaac Gray got all of his talking points and psychology on just how to make all this happen. I'm not totally convinced that that it was just Isaac Gray and his girlfriend in the motel room that were involved in this deal. As a matter of fact, I find it highly improbable that that there wasn't someone else behind the scenes orchestrating what they believe would be the perfect, justifiable homicide. And I'm going to, because some of the other characteristics of what I just said are all present in this deal. So Dahlem is shot twice by Isaac. The coroner, Alan Gurley, was on the scene at about 4:30. So they may have murdered him about 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, we'll know how long it took for them to get Gurley out there. You know, Alan's been doing this a long time, and he's not as fast as he used to be, nor am I. So it may have took him a while to get him awake and to get him to go through all the motions he needs to go through to get his ass up there, Damon, to say, okay, he's dead. That's his job. It's our job. Take anything away from it, Alan, but you know, we know what the deal is. Probably could save a trip because that's all he had to do. So, the first official statement on this deal was by none other than the clown and chief, Ronnie Bowen. I've talked about this and talked about this. I don't know how, what he got something on somebody. The state chief of police that long, so much crime and bullshit going on there, and he'll stand up with a white outfit on. I mean, where they do that at, and I'm telling you, it will sing the biggest lying song you've ever heard in your life with a straight face. So Bowen says that there were 2 people of interest. Okay, he's been watching CSI or some of that shit too much. What do you mean 2 people of interest? We're in Mississippi. Okay, speak English, Ronnie. We need 2 people of interest. You're interested in what? Don't confuse people. Make it clear. There's 2 people that's involved in this killing, and we know who they are, and we got your asses in the clink right now. Everybody go to bed. He didn't say that. 2 people of interest, but he said the community is safe. Don't worry about it. Really? Now that tells me that they didn't go to jail immediately. So they was people of interest, but everybody was safe. Sound to me like Ronnie that you know these 2 of the accused are pretty good to be able to. That's a tall order. I mean, after a premeditated murder had just took place, and you went on stepped on out there and told everybody else how safe they were. Well, I got news for you, Ronnie. there's a whole lot of people in Monroe County that is concerned about these two murderers that are still roaming the community, beating the hell out of each other. And not only that, of the multiple reports of Isaac and Cheyenne abusing their infant child. Okay? So not only is he abused her, I don't know if she abused him, but there's plenty of reports of the infant being abused. One blaming it on the other for doing it. Now, I know that everybody, all three people in this deal have mothers and fathers. And it is, we're going to keep all things equal. That's why we're not putting Hunter Dahlem, the victim, on trial. He's got a mother and he's got a father. He's got family that care about him, that love him, and that obviously will mourn his death until the day they die. No parent should ever have to outlive their child. No matter what anybody says about their child, it's their child that they love. And we've got to respect that. And I'm going to respect that. I always have and I always will. And I'm going to call those out that just refuse to acknowledge that. Because that is part of the problem, ladies and gentlemen. We at a point in America where this type of behavior is accepted as the norm, and we just leave it up to those that we elected, put in office to handle it, knowing the whole damn time that something ain't right. Now, so the two were arrested and charged with first-degree murder, or at least not clear on what they charged Cheyenne with, but I will assume that it was first-degree murder as well. And folks, when you're charged in Mississippi with first-degree murder, you go to jail and you stay there. The chances of you getting a bond are slim to none. But lickety split, in and out, they made bond. It was just a $50,000 bond and a couple of $1,000s to a bondsman, like Dennis Thompson, says he walks out the door. Okay? Now, again, it's innocent until proven guilty, but they have been implicated and charged in first-degree murder. So they've done admitted by the time they get admitted to murdering Dahlem. Cheyenne got, I brought up the bathroom story. They tried to kind of spin that, but she was just as much part of it as he was. Okay, she knew exactly what the hell they were doing. Now, I'm sure that the parents of these two want to take the defense of their children, and they should. But let's drop back a little bit. So what I understand it is that Isaac had a history of whooping Cheyenne's ass. Now, I'm thinking, I'm confused about this. I've got a young daughter that's hooked up with this punk, her baby daddy, and he slapped her. We just go with slap, not get beat the hell out of her, whatever. Don't you know that I can assure you folks that if it was my daughter, we wouldn't be having this story today and talking about Isaac doing anything. I promise you that he would have been handled and rendered incapable of ever doing that again. That's exactly how that would have gone down. I'm going to double down on that. And I understand that that he did things to hurt the infant child. So let's go through this again. That being my grandchild, you can rest assured that Isaac would not have ever done that again. Now, I would call CPS and go through all this stuff and wrote letters to the welfare agencies to see what the hell they was going to do about it. I know that I could handle it in a short time. And had that been done, we might not have a murderer or murderers out there loose staying high, and business as usual. And that's what's going on right now. He's back and forth to Bugsy. She's been back and forth to Bugsy and reported this, reported that, but they're inseparable. They're inseparable with each other, with a dope man. And don't tell me that one of them's got that kid. I don't know who's got that kid. Or let them get within 100 miles of that kid. I ain't got the whole story on that, but I got the whole story on what I just told you. I got a problem with that. It's been 2 years, ain't nobody been talking about it. I'm talking about it now. I'm talking about it now. They've offered, the official story is, Isaac a 30-year plea deal, 10 of them suspended or something like that, and he refused to do it. Folks, Mississippi, when somebody gets 50 or 100 years, and well, thank goodness. Not all what it seems, folks. Most cases, that means about 18 months in prison, okay? So I'm going to cut out all the graphs and pie charts on how that works, but that means that's a slap on the wrist, okay? It's until you hear words like mandatory and habitual, that you can rest assured it's a sliding scale. And if he's never had a felony conviction, all that, and they slide them in and slide them out on the KY program in Mississippi Department of Corrections, okay? And they're not a criminal. When they go in there, you can bet your sweet ass they'll be one when they get out. This ensures that our prison industry and our correction industries will always be thriving in Mississippi because it's rigged and designed for recidivism and for that revolving door to keep revolving and swinging and building and hiring and the whole gamut, folks. This is the beast that's got to be fed. Surely to God, they're not contemplating on trying to whitewash and drag this out, drag it out until everything is calmed down and people have all but forgotten that there was a premeditated, cold-blooded murder at the sleepy little innocent railroad town of Amory, Mississippi, that has a propensity to produce some of the most grisly murders in this state ever. From old women getting raped and murdered to premeditated murder of these kids at this motel, folks, let me tell you, all this working at the little sleepy little planned community of Amory, Mississippi, folks, and I'm going to tell you, I'm speaking from experience. You've never been to a place in your life that was slap dab packed with weirdos, and I'm talking something straight out of the Twilight Zone. That's it, okay? I've been told by pretty good sources that one of the biggest marketing swap shops for the drug trade in the state is at their annual railroad festival. This is a rendezvousing deal second to none. People be going to that thing. Folks, don't ask me to tell you what it is. I don't have the mentality to explain it. If we got off on that, we'd be here for 6 months. And it's just not worth going into. And that's the deal. That's the same chief of police, the same people in play. So will they really try these two murderers as what it is, a premeditated first-degree murder? Or are they getting the, it's okay, it's a bad guy we think that you killed, and you're young, got your whole life ahead of you, and we're not going to look at this as if you were a Jeffrey Dahmer or a Ted Bundy or anything else. We're just going to let it go and move on with it. But I see a lot of failures there. And maybe the parents of these two murderers not get on any kicks or get in the mindset of that Dahlem had what was coming to him. Okay, I think the failures in this deal was a failure of somebody, some grown up that knew all this was going on, him beating her and his kid and all this stuff. Why hadn't somebody stepped in the picture prior to Isaac murdering Dahlem and broke him from sucking eggs, if you know what I mean? We got some people that ain't got a backbone. They're working with wishbones and not backbones. That's all I can say. And I don't care. Well, you can't do that. Listen, I promise you, if it was my daughter or my grandchild, I would what you can and can't do. Ain't none of that shit working. Okay, I know what's working is what I'm going to do. That's the deal. I'm not going to ask anybody, is this acceptable? Because I know that I know who I am. I know who I serve. That's God Almighty, and I promise you that God's still working on me. And I'm satisfied He'll be working on me until He calls me home. So don't get it twisted, thinking that I met a guy and said, well, you know, he's a Christian. We can slap him and he's going to turn another cheek. Oh, just pump your brakes on that one, okay? Because I'm not there yet, all right? You slap me thinking I'm going to turn another cheek. I'm going to try my best to take the wisdom teeth out of your head. Then I'm going to pray for you. But it's going to be in that order. But turn up, that ain't, I'm not there yet. So you know that on the head. So don't get thinking it's some little every week Christian that just going to take it like that. Not going to do it. And I don't believe that that's excusable with this deal either. And we take in 2023, on October the 23rd, October 23rd, it was, I got this, this young man, 15 years old, down in Jackson, Mississippi, and Jacob Terrell, when he was 15, murdered a woman down there. And of course, now Jacob is black. He committed the murder. To my knowledge, it wasn't a premeditated murder. While he was 15, and at 17, still 2 years younger than the white guy at Amory, they gave him 35 years with a whole lot of stipulations. Going to be there for a long, long time. Of course, they gave him time. They went about as hard as they could go without just totally looking like they were still rooting for the goon squad to make it and everything else kind of attitude. We know that that if Isaac or Cheyenne, either one, were black, and they had killed a white man, we know that Ronnie Boyd would be saying there were two people of interest and the community safe. I could give you the idea of what he would be saying, but we all know he wouldn't be saying anything like that, and we know where they'd be, and we know what everybody be saying. They know, and we know. And folks, that ain't right. So I just want I wanted to make it that take my position on this. I hadn't talked with any of the family members about any of this, folks. Y'all know how I swing on this deal. I take a whole different approach when I do cover a story. I do talk with family and so forth. I ain't problems with that. But you can rest assured that I have not I've not read anything from any of the families, much less talked to them. And my thoughts, my heart, absolutely goes out not only to Hunter Dahlem and his family, the victim, but also as well as the families of the two accused. I don't want to come off as being that there's not. I fully understand that. There's at least three, and I think there's more. And I think that's a part of the deal. There's it's a permanent situation with Hunter, and it's also with Cheyenne and Isaac. That's permanent as well. It's a different kind of permanent, but ain't none of it good. Permanent for not only them, but for their family and their loved ones. This young child that we've been talking about. There's a whole lot of people got a whole lot going on. But folks, let me tell you, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. My child but I'm going to tell you. I think that I don't believe that we should have a two-tiered system or a three-tiered system where we're going to treat these people any different. We treat that. Lady Justice is supposed to be colorblind, and we do have the rule of law, and I think that should be followed to the T, not circumvented as that is done on a daily basis by those that swore an oath to uphold that Constitution and our laws are the very ones circumventing that. So while I'm on the subject, I've covered a story there in Amory about Kayla Prestridge, and in 2018 was murdered. it was reported then, it's still being reported, as she died from falling out of a car. Okay? And folks, how in the hell you fall out of a car and die? I mean, how do you fall out of a car? And we got a situation where we've got a defective vehicle, and then the door, the seat collapsed, the door flew open, and she fell out of the car. How do you fall out of a car? Some of them, she jumped out of the car. Now, out of a moving vehicle. It's actually going real fast. But the truth of the matter is, Kayla, after she was clubbed to death, and autopsies show that that's not talked about, and the clubbing in the back of her head, and the autopsy said, well, there's no way that happened from falling out of a car or being pushed or slung out of a car. Okay? So after they clubbed her nearly to death, right there in downtown Amory, and got her in the car, the two snitches, the dyke and the other snitch that was in there, did what a doped up dyke and a snitch, both of them snitches, do. And they pushed her out of the car and finished her off. That's what happened. And this is still an open case. Some call it a cold case. Well, ain't nothing cold about this case. Ain't nothing cold about the brutal murder of Kayla Prestridge in Amory, Mississippi. What's cold about it is the former sheriff and investigators, including MBN, all getting on the same page with the same lying bullshit narrative to protect some rats and to protect their narrative because if that one story changes, then how many other stories might not be quite right that need to change? That opens up a can of worms they're not prepared to open, and they're not going to do it. So we have to give our propers to the new sheriff, Kevin Crook. So with the new sheriff, Kevin Crook has announced that they're going to get a fresh set of eyes and open a new investigation. And I'm going to take that at what they're doing and what he said at its face value, as that he's going to do what he said he's going to do. I'm not going to look at it as if that's just something to satisfy or placate the family or to continue the lie of the previous administration. I'd like to believe that Kevin Crook has taken a higher ground. We already know that he's taken higher ground on a lot of issues in Monroe County. That apparently we have a sheriff in Monroe County that really does have a moral compass. I do believe that those things are at work in Monroe County, and I am optimistic about what's going on there. I hope that we can remain optimistic and that the pressure won't be applied and to try to ruin that and to force somebody to fall in step with the corruption that is ever so present with some of the old guard there in Monroe County. And there's still a lot of people in the mix that are part of that old guard and will do whatever is necessary to protect that and to protect these lies and this corruption. And so this requires the prayers and faith of those that are in that community, in that county, to make sure that those that are doing the right thing, the things that they were elected to do, are able to continue doing it. We've got to demand the due process for every citizen, that be fair and balanced, and that they get a fair shake every time, and not base this on their last name, their past, or what they may or may not have done, and not justify a brutal murder. And so we got a couple of murderers that have got a lot of problems, and getting dope and staying high ain't one of them. And I find it appalling that that's allowed to happen. So don't tell me what the deal is with that. And continue to keep those families in your prayers, including Kayla Prestridge and her family. And there's many more, folks, and many more. can't cover them all in one show. Subscribe, share. I welcome your comments down there below. Until next time, God bless you.
Call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got